kids, welcome to Building on the Rock. Last week we covered David's generosity and kindness, but today we're really not going to be talking a lot about David. Because you see, we're going to be talking about one of David's closest advisors and commanders, Joab. And rather, what he was and wasn't good at. So follow me in chapter 20, verse 1 until 22. An evil man who always stirred up trouble happened to be in Gilgal. His name was Sheba, the son of Bichri. Sheba was from the tribe of Benjamin. He blew his trumpet. Then he shouted, "We don't have any share in David's kingdom. Jesse's son is not our king. Men of Israel, every one of you, go back home." So all of the men of Israel deserted David. They followed Sheba, the son of Bichri. But the men of Judah stayed with their king. They remained with him from the Jordan River all the way to Jerusalem. David returned to his palace in Jerusalem. He had left 10 concubines there to take care of the palace. He put them in a house and kept them under guard. He gave them what they needed, but he didn't make love to them. They were kept under guard until the day they died. They lived as if they were widows. The king said to Amasa, "Send for the men of Judah. Tell them to come to me within 3 days, and be here yourself." So Amasa went to get the men of Judah, but he took longer than the time the king had set for him. David said to Abishai, "Sheba, the son of Bichri, will do more harm to us than Absalom ever did. Take my men and go after him. If you don't, he'll find cities that have high walls around them. He'll go into one of them and escape from us." So Joab's men marched out with the Kerethites and Pelethites. They went out with all of the mighty soldiers. All of them were under Abishai's command. They marched out from Jerusalem and went to Sheba, the son of Bichri. They arrived at the great rock in Gibeon. Amasai went there to welcome them. Joab was wearing his military clothes. Over them, at his waist, he strapped on a belt that held a dagger. As he stepped forward, the dagger fell out. Joab said to Amasai, "How are you, my friend?" Then Joab reached out his right hand. He took hold of Amasai's beard to kiss him. Amasai didn't pay any attention to the dagger that was in Joab's left hand. Joab stuck it in his stomach, and his inside spilled out on the ground. Joab didn't have to stab him again. Amasai was already dead. Then Joab and his brother Abishai went after Sheba, the son of Bichri. One of Joab's men stood beside Amasai's body. He said to the other men, "Are you pleased with Joab? Are you on David's side? Then follow Joab." Amasai's body lay covered with his blood in the middle of the road. The man saw that all the troops stopped there. He realized that everyone was stopping to look at Amasai's body. So he dragged it from the road into a field. Then he threw some clothes on top of it. After that happened, all of the men continued on with Joab. They went after Sheba, the son of Bichri. Sheba passed through all of the territory of the tribes of Israel. He arrived at the city of Abel-Beth-Makkah. He had gone through the entire area of the Berites. They had gathered together and followed him. Joab and all of his troops came to Abel-Beth-Makkah. They surrounded it because Sheba was there. They built a ramp up to the city. It stood against the outer wall. They pounded the wall with huge logs to bring it down. While that was going on, a wise woman called out from the city. She shouted, "Listen, listen! Tell Joab to come here. I want to speak to him." So Joab went toward her. She asked, "Are you Joab?" "I am," he answered. She said, "Listen to what I have to say." "I'm listening," he said. She continued, "Long ago people used to say, 'Get your answer at Abel,' and they would settle the matter. We are the most peaceful and faithful people of Israel. You are trying to destroy a city that is like a mother is in Israel. Why do you want to swallow up what belongs to the Lord?" "I would never do anything like that," Joab said. "I would never swallow up or destroy what belongs to the Lord." "That isn't what I have in mind at all. There's a man named Sheba, the son of Bichri, in your city. He's from the hill country of Ephraim. He's trying to kill King David. Hand that man over to me, then I'll pull my men back from your city." So the woman said to Joab, "We'll throw his head down to you from the wall." Then the woman gave her wise advice to all the people in the city. They cut off the head of Sheba, the son of Bichri. They threw it down to Joab, so he blew his trumpet. Then his men pulled back from the city. Each of them returned to his home, and Joab went back to the king in Jerusalem. Now you see, this at first seems like a rather confusing tale, because you see, Why did Joab stab Amasa? Sure, he was a little late, but he wasn't mean or anything. Well, we have to go back to last week's lesson in chapter 19, which says in verses 13 and in verse 13, "Say to Amasa, aren't you my own flesh and blood? From now on you will be the commander of my army in place of Joab. If that isn't true, may God punish me greatly." You see, Joab was working to defend his leadership position. It was nothing personal. He was simply a cruel man who thought that his power was more important than a life. And this brings some bitter irony into his statement to the wise woman of Abel, where he says in verse 20, "I would never do anything like that. I would never swallow up or destroy what belongs to the Lord." For you see, that man still belonged to the Lord. Even though he had worked for Absalom, he still did belong to the Lord. And he didn't care. He got what he wanted, and he went unpunished. But you see, he didn't. Years down the line, in chapters that I won't be able to read to you because I am leaving soon, he gets his death for what he has done. But this is the thing we need to learn from this. It's that punishment does not come instantly. Just because you do something bad now, and it doesn't come back to bite you immediately, doesn't mean it wasn't bad. Just because you do something good now, and you don't get rewarded for it, doesn't mean it wasn't good. Don't do good and bad because they'll be punished. Do good and bad because it is what is good. Bad will have its justice, not by our hands, but by God's. And when that comes, when evil is punished, I want to be on the side that has mercy. I want to be one who has tried to do good, even if I have failed. And I hope you do too. Now, I will show you how to build this little wall and hand to hold a head. Today, we're going to be showing you how to build a hand, a head, and a wall. But let's start with the hand, because I think that's the most interesting part. What you're going to need for your hand is 2 of these 2x3 tan sloped pieces, like we used last week, and 2 of these 2x3s that are not sloped, and the same color. Then, you are going to attach 2 plates in 2x4, dark tan, I suppose, to the bottom here of these bricks. And see this overlap? We're going to attach our slope pieces on top. Now that you got your fingers, I couldn't really make more fingers, but we're gonna roll with them. You're going to grab this, a round 2x2 in brown, and these 2 dark red 1x2s. The 1x2s will attach on each side accordingly. One on the left, one on the right. And now here's the real interesting part. You're going to attach these on one stud and the other. This is something that you really should just leave on a table, because this connection is kind of unstable, but it does work. Once you have those, you are then going to push them towards each other. And you see, it does connect, it's just not a very solid connection. Now that you have them going towards each other, you can build the head, which is a simple 3-piece construction. 2 bright yellow 2x2s and 1 darker yellow 2x4, attached like so. Now let's build our wall. To start, you're going to use a base of a 2x6 brick, and then you're going to attach to its sides a 2x2 dark, a 1x2, I should say, dark gray, and another 1x2 dark gray brick. Now that you have those, you are going to attach to it a black 2x2 brick and a light gray 2x2 brick in the middle. Either side will work. It's just going to affect how you attach these two pieces, which is a 1x2 in light gray and a 1x2 with studs on the side in light gray. You should attach it to the side that has the black. See? And it kind of functions as a 2x2 brick with studs on the side. Now, you're then going to grab a 2x4 in black and attach here. And then you grab a 2x6, the second one, connect it here. And with one final piece, you attach a 2x2 plate on top, giving it a little more variety and texture. Now, if you want, you could try to customize this even further with your own pieces. Just try to add some texture alongside it. But for the purposes of the lesson, I believe this is a rather adequate wall that you can, toss the head off of. You can also play with the hand as a bit of a launcher. It just kind of slides off. It's kind of cute. Well, I hope you enjoyed building on the rock,